Number one, Ibble Dibble here. And we're back for the most enlightening conversation you've ever heard with the women of our generation who have suffered the most, but also succeeded the most, and live to inspire and support us. Were your parents worked to death by the Khmer Rouge? Guess what? Jameela felt a lot of pressure to stay a size 2 for a job that only pays around $1 million a year. Was your grandmother's head sliced off in Sierra Leone? Well, when Meghan went to Africa, no one even asked her if she was okay. Because being married to a prince isn't so easy, you know?
If your voice is going to be elevated above others, people who are more experienced than you, then you better be really sure about
done your homework, done your homework, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've learned to be more careful in the areas in which I speak. There are still a lot of areas in which I care. You know, so much going on in the world. Everything that's happening in Iran, if it's happening to trans women, everything that's happening to reproductive rights. But there are certain areas where if I've experienced something personally, and I can back that up with those credentials, that's the place I'm going to fight the hardest because I know I can be the most effective. So places like reproductive rights, places like eating disorder culture, places like mental health, places like feminism, I can hold my own in those spaces, and I defer. I'm very deferential now to other experts outside of my, remit of understanding and experience.
Other experts. I think I missed it somewhere. Can someone let me know in the comments below what exactly Jameela's advanced education and clinical research has been?
I can back that up with those credentials.
In the areas she specializes in?
I can back that up with those credentials.
Jameela didn't even go to school past the age of 15. Next, as highly educated expert feminists with real jobs do, they discussed how their boyfriend and husband interpret and judge their professionally proffered opinions.
What does your partner think of all this?
He's just a great source of strength and comfort, and someone who can take my phone away because he's 6'7". I can't reach it when he's holding it up. If I need my phone to be taken away, he's there to he understands me, and he's just an incredible human, an incredible friend. And I don't think I could have withstood all of this without him. And I know you have a very similar dynamic with Harry, and actually when the four of us met that one time, it was a really sweet dynamic of two very sort of similar relationships, and it was very nice for me to see that you have that in your home.
Speaking of misogyny and feminism, I've always found the term daddy issues incredibly problematic. But has Jameela not painted us an exact illustration of them? She's 36 years old and she needs a big, strong man to monitor her online activities and take her phone away when she's overexcited and acting naughty. A lot of couples have this dynamic where one is compelled to parent the other. And to each their own, I suppose. But on the off chance that any men listen to me, I want you to know women who do this know what we're doing most of the time. This dynamic appeals to men in two ways. First, it makes them feel closer to the dumb and perhaps toxic masculine ideal, a protector, provider, hunter, 2-hour gatherer, whatever. It's that lizard brain thinking that took control of Will Smith's body as he walked on stage pre-slap. Second, it makes it harder for you to leave because you're not our equal partner. You're our mommy, our daddy, our teacher, our boss, our everything. Admitting to yourself that you quite literally ain't all that hurts 5 times as much. The guilt you feel in a breakup is 5 times as strong. I think many heteronormative couples get into this dynamic in their first real relationship and only realize after the fact either, wow, I shouldn't and can't be all that for one person, and wow, I shouldn't and can't expect all that from one person. But after that first love, setting up this vibe is a choice. Fellas, you been played. I was very curious to see who Jameela's heroic partner was, and I must say I am disappointed that it is musician James Blake. Not because there's anything wrong with him, but because I had never heard of him before, or I suppose I had heard one of his singles many years ago and never thought anything of it. But I actually like his present day music and can't buy any of it because I am not trying to take Jamil out to dinner. Now, digging into Jameela and James's relationship is a whole nother can of worms on the level of Shireen Jamil. In a Time Out New York interview in 2016, right after they first got together, James said, quote, "In terms of becoming more open, I guess I had help just by meeting somebody who was much more open than I was and much more confident than I was. It helped me rise to the plate," end quote. Open James, or trying really hard to push a real relatable woke woman persona? Was she a little lady just trying really hard to be clear with you about her needs, James? Or could she have been very methodical in the ways she went about getting what she wanted from you? That sounds a little like Meghan and Harry, doesn't it? Man who is otherwise a catch having a crisis of confidence, being targeted by this brand of narcissist. And throughout their time together, Jameela has simultaneously effusively praised James and publicly served backhanded compliments. For example, congratulating him on putting out a new single, quote, "Behind every great man is a creepy little Indian. At James Blake just dropped a new song today on at BBC Radio 1 and it's one of my favorite ones ever," end quote. Okay, kind of race baiting and way to make it all about yourself, Jameela. In a January 2019 interview with Red magazine, Jameela said she fell in love with him by accident. Quote, "We hugely accidentally fell in love. I met so many egomaniacs in my time at T4 and Radio 1 who are in this industry, and to find like a really good egg who is well raised and doesn't think that he's God's gift to earth is really cool." Where have we heard that before? Good egg. Good egg. A very strange compliment for a full-grown adult you presumably know very well. Some might even say condescending. And in an even more, I don't know if it's condescending, insensitive, antisocial, resentful. I honestly don't know what it is, but to several media outlets, several times, she repeats this anecdote of James's white male privilege rubbing off on her and that somehow being a good thing. In the same Red interview, she says, quote, "He's taught me how to believe in myself. He's infected me with his white male privilege. Whenever I've said I can't do something, he looks at me like I'm crazy," end quote. And then in March 2019, on Emma Gannon's Control-Alt-Delete podcast, she said, quote, "My boyfriend taught me to stick up for myself. He's been a great force. I understand the brain of white male privilege now. I've been with him for 4 years. I decided to try and live my life as he does. If he doesn't need his nails done before a mag interview, then neither do I. He spends 5 minutes getting ready, then so do I," end quote. First off, that's just obviously untrue. Jameela takes great care of herself. She is always perfectly groomed and toned. But beyond that, again, there's this super weird race baiting element. Let me tell you an anecdote, Jameela. Once upon a time, I was sitting in a very expensive salon in New York City getting my hair done, and in walked in Barbra Streisand herself with her husband, James Brolin. I believe their situation is something like yours in that James is the less famous actor significant other of the far more famous, more talented, and wealthier musical performer, Barbara. And guess who got manis and petties together? It's not about whiteness. It's not about maleness. It's not about privilege even. You can file and buff your nails at home. It's just about pride. One of the tragedies about personalities like Meghan and Jameela is that they may never be able to differentiate between what they do for themselves and what they do for other people. In a way, everything they do is for themselves, but in another way, everything they do is to leech narcissistic supply from other people. And that is a need that can never be met. Also, in the same way, one of Meghan's tells is the word vivid. Before she tells a lie about her past, she frequently describes it as a vivid memory. after Vivid comes alive. She doesn't even realize it, but Vivid is her tell. Same thing with Jameela saying this and that happened by accident. If she says it happened by accident, it was in fact the product of a calculated strategy or manipulation or both. She does this in the very same interview, quote, "One of the crazy moments might have been playing Tahani Al-Jamil in The Good Place. The audition came up and James said, 'It's an annoying, overly tall English woman. It's basically you.' I felt very calm and carefree during the audition because it was just so ridiculous an idea that I would ever become an actor. I guess because I was so relaxed, I was able to be myself, and that happened to be what Mike Schur was looking for." End quote. Really? Because your childhood friend says that your mother has been molding you into an actress since preschool. Seems like the first thing you did when you left school at 15 was get a job bartending in London and start auditioning. No one who moves to Hollywood specifically to try to make it as an actor finds it, quote, "so ridiculous an idea that I would ever become an actor," end quote. In this podcast with Meghan, she does this, "Who, little old me, little Jameela? That was just an accident that I got so lucky to be so successful and achieve so much." Thing 14 times.
I had to promote a new show I was on called The Good Place, and I'd never
Which was a
really-
huge success.
So I always started as an accident. I never planned on any of this. I never planned to be a face of anything or a leader of a movement. The idea that this would be something that someone like me would choose is hilarious to me. And I had no idea how it would go.
Again, relative to her talk time, that is more than once per minute. She's clearly doing this so as not to be perceived as scheming or conniving without realizing she's overcompensating. In another creepy, unfortunate parallel with Hallmark Channel Princess Switch Meghan, who never graduated curtsy school, Jameela made her very famous boyfriend come out in defense of her with a huge speech as a Valentine's Day gesture in 2020. I'll read it to you. "It's pretty disgusting to watch the woman I love just be dogpiled on every day for such ridiculous things. She hasn't sold dangerous products to kids. She hasn't abused anyone. She hasn't funded anything dangerous or brought any deliberate harm to any marginalized group. She's just done her best as an ever-learning human, as most of us are, to help other people with her privilege. She does this because she had such a difficult life, because she doesn't want others to feel alone, gaslit, or ashamed the way she has. I am there for her swollen joints, her dislocations, her severe allergic reactions, her constant high fevers. I was there for her concussion, her 3 months of seizures, when the doctor gave her the cancer diagnosis, and for all her operations and their complications due to EDS. I can feel the lumps in her back from the car accident and see all the scars. I am there when she turns down amazing job opportunities because of her health limitations. I actually live with her. Her being attractive, tall, and successful doesn't mean she hasn't been sick." Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a very real, very debilitating condition. More and more people are discovering they have it, but because it's vastly under-researched and the patients, as with most invisible disabilities, look well, people constantly doubt and mock those suffering. May none of us ever know the pain and frustration of that existence. I feel lucky not to, watching how many jobs and fun nights out my girlfriend has had to turn down because of what her body can and can't do. Huge, life-changing jobs. You don't know this woman. A lot of you literally think she's Tahani from The Good Place. You don't know what her life is and has been like, but I do. And I'm not going to stand by and let some total strangers try to push my girlfriend over the edge to what? Stop her from helping kids with eating disorders? Stop removing mainstream shame of talking about mental health? What are any of you even doing? And why are so many of you enjoying this? It's sick to watch, and I don't ever see men treated like this, the way we tear women limb from limb. James. Let me give you a little bit of advice. On Valentine's Day, you should be going to the most expensive restaurant you can afford, which for you two should be amazing. Drinking as much champagne as you can stomach, dancing and seducing each other for approximately 25 minutes, and then fucking the night away. If your girlfriend really, really loved you, that's what she'd want to do on Valentine's Day. Not write an essay about her victimhood in the Notes app and make you tweet it out as proof that you really, really still love her. For comparison's sake, I'll read you a statement by the Communications Secretary to Prince Harry published 8th of November 2016. Since he was young, Prince Harry has been very aware of the warmth that has been extended to him by members of the public. He feels lucky to have so many people supporting him and knows what a fortunate and privileged life he leads. He is also aware that there is significant curiosity about his private life. He has never been comfortable with this, but he has tried to develop a thick skin about the level of media interest that comes with it. He has rarely taken formal action on the very regular publication of fictional stories that are written about him, and he has worked hard to develop a professional relationship with the media, focused on his work and the issues he cares about. But the past week has seen a line crossed. His girlfriend, Meghan Markle, has been subject to a wave of abuse and harassment. Some of this has been very public. The smear on the front page of a national newspaper, the racial undertones of comment pieces, and the outright sexism and racism of social media trolls and web article comments. Some of it has been hidden from the public, the nightly legal battles to keep defamatory stories out of papers, her mother having to struggle past photographers in order to get to her front door, the attempts of reporters and photographers to gain illegal entry to her home, and the calls to police that followed, the substantial bribes offered by papers to her ex-boyfriend, the bombardment of nearly every friend, coworker, and loved one in her life. Prince Harry is worried about Ms. Markle's safety and is deeply disappointed that he has not been able to protect her. It is not right that a few months into a relationship with him that Ms. Markle should be subjected to such a storm. He knows commentators will say, this is the price she has to pay, and that this is all part of the game. He strongly disagrees. This is not a game, it is her life and his. He has asked for this statement to be issued in the hopes that those in the press who have been driving this story can pause and reflect before any further damage is done. He knows that it is unusual to issue a statement like this, but hopes that fair-minded people will understand why he has felt it necessary to speak publicly. So this is a Sunshine Sax thing, right? Get the big gorilla to beat his chest and raise your profile? I feel like Harry, especially with the children, is in it to win it, but James might be getting smart. Based solely on the lyrics to his songs, which I cannot play because I will get copyright stricken, demonetized, and possibly kicked off of YouTube, but I will read you the lyrics. In the song Say What You Will from 2019, when they were between 3 and 4 years deep into their relationship, the lyrics were, say what you will, go on, you're gonna do it anyway. I can find my way with no superpowers. I can take my place without becoming sour. I might not make all those psychopaths proud, but at least I can see the faces of the smaller crowds. But by 2021, he is sounding a lot darker. In the song From Both Sides of a Smile, hey, it's okay, I don't care if no one knows my name, pain, it's all the same, even if you think it's all in vain, 'cause I am turning hurt into a rose. How could we let it slide? Looking back at our lives, the future's just a lie. We'll be there, you and I, on both sides of a smile. And coming back, can't stick to that, can't fade us to black, so I'm coming back. 'Cause it hurts, like the end of the world, and like betrayal of the soul I've never thought of before. So I'm coming back, tail between my legs, forget what I said. There's a mile between my heart and my head, so I take it all back. Yikes. And from the song Famous Last Words, and I can't believe I'm still talking about you, that feeling I should have lost it by now. I can't believe I'm still holding out and seeing signs I've truly lost it this time. You're the last of my old things, the cast from my broken limbs. I can't believe I'm still walking around a believer. I should have lost it by now. I can't believe I'm still making excuses for your crimes. I've truly lost it this time. You're the famous last words I wish I never uttered. I wish I never stuttered. I wish I had had time to learn. You're the last of my old things. Yikes. So what do you think? How long will they be able to hold this together? 18 months? He did give her a producer credit on this album, and she defended it by saying, quote, I was a DJ for 8 years and studied music for 6 years before that, end quote. I just want to know, which 14 years were they? I feel like I should take bets. 18 months? Put your odds in the comment section. That's it for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.